Natural selection is just one way that evolution can happen. This is video 2.4 that covers 5 forces that can drive evolutionary change. Video 2.4 is about these 3 goals. Pause for a closer look. You can actually look at your hand for inspiration. You have 5 fingers on your hand and 5 forces of evolution. The middle finger is for mutation. Middle and mutation both start with M. Mutations are just changes in DNA sequences, and mutations are random, so organisms don't have control over whether or not they'll get new mutations. Sometimes, mutations cause no change, but other times, mutations introduce new variations, like this newly arisen dark-colored moth here. Mutations that result in new variations are a force of evolutionary change. Next, your pointer finger represents gene flow. Remember, gene flow is migration, when organisms move from one population to another. In this picture, a brown beetle is moving from one population to another. Think of the pointer finger as pointing to show the direction of gene flow. So how can gene flow cause evolution? In this example at the top, when the brown beetle immigrates to the green population, well, now there's a new variant that wasn't in this population before. This new variant represents the evolutionary change. In the middle example, what would happen if this white rabbit emigrated out of the population? The population could lose the white variation forever. Losing rare traits would be the source of evolutionary change. At the bottom, there are individuals flowing between the 2 populations. The population on the left has 20 blue and 10 red individuals, and this means 67% blue and 33% red. If 2 blue and 1 red leave, then 2 red come in and 1 blue comes in. Now the blue frequency changes from 67% to 63%, and the red changes from 33% to 37%. So gene flow can change allelic frequencies, a change that, over time, is evolution. Your thumb is natural selection, when selection pressures of nature lead to favorable traits accumulating over time. Nature kind of votes thumbs up or thumbs down on traits. Natural selection is a driving force of evolutionary change. Next is sexual selection. Sexual selection is when organisms of one gender, usually females, are choosy about their mates. Females usually select mates because females have fewer mating chances. For example, once a female elephant mates, she's pregnant for 20 months and only has 1 baby elephant at the end. In contrast, a male elephant can impregnate another female on the very same day. As a result, males compete to make sure that they are the chosen one. Since females have so few chances to make offspring, females want to choose males with the most fit traits. And to prove their fitness, males often have traits like a large, hairy mane, or big, bright feathers, or strength to win a fight. And if these traits are selected for by mates, then these traits will increase over time, causing evolution of a population. It's convenient to think of sexual selection as the ring finger because, essentially, organisms are competing to put a ring on it. There are different types of sexual selection. In intersexual selection, males put on a display ritual for females, and the females decide if they want to mate with that male. Another type is intrasexual selection, with contests between males to establish dominance. The winner of the intrasexual selection fight then gets the breeding rights of the female. Interestingly, sexual selection often leads to sexual dimorphism, meaning that there are 2 different forms or looks of the organism based on gender. If bright male colors get mates, then bright coloration is passed down and selected for generation after generation, leading to more bright colored males and maybe even brighter colored males. The same holds true with body size differences or presence of traits like horns only in one sex. The 5th of 5 evolutionary forces is a small gene pool, and your pinky helps remember small gene pool because, it's the smallest finger. A small population can lead to random evolutionary change called genetic drift. Here's an example of genetic drift. A person is walking along and steps on some beetles in this small population of beetles. Now, at the start, the beetle population has 33% green and 67% tan. And by chance, this person stepped on and killed 2 green beetles. Now, the green beetles didn't have less fitness, but just died by chance. As a result, allelic frequencies changed from 33% green to 17% green, and from 67% tan to 83% tan, and future generations are shaped by these change percentages. There are two types of genetic drift: founder effect and bottleneck effect. A founder effect is when a small population of organisms acts as founders for a new population. A small population breaks off from the main population, goes to a new place, and starts a new population. In this example, some birds from a mainland broke off from the main population, went to this island, and started a brand new population. The mainland population had half yellow birds and half red birds. The birds that left and started a new population were, by chance, red birds. So when the island population expands, the new population can only have the red variation. Now, not because red is more fit, but just by chance. To emphasize, what happened was that the small population of founders, by chance, had skewed allelic frequencies compared to the main population. So by chance, red was overrepresented here and yellow was underrepresented. Now, when the new population expands from these red founders, the new population will have different genetic makeup compared to that first main population. That change over time, caused by random chance events, is evolution. The second type of genetic drift is called bottleneck effect. This is when there's an event like a natural disaster that wipes out most of a large population, leaving only a small population of survivors. Now, by chance, that small population of survivors may have skewed allelic frequencies. So we actually saw this example a couple of slides ago. So the survivors have a higher frequency of tan and lower frequency of green by chance. Then, when this population expands from its survivors, there will be evolution because the allelic frequency will have changed over generations of time. Here's a look at a bottleneck from kind of like a graph perspective. The population starts as a large size, and then there's a bottleneck event that nearly wipes out the whole population. When the population recovers, only the survivors of the bottleneck event can contribute to the traits of the recovered population. If the survivors had different ratios of traits compared to the original population, then the recovered population will have changed over time compared to the start. To recap, natural selection is just one force of evolution. There's four more. Change over time can be caused by gene flow, organisms moving into or out of a population. Evolution can be caused by mutation, DNA changes that introduce new variations. Another force of evolution is non-random mating, where traits that get you mates increase in each generation. Finally, a small gene pool can cause evolution because of chance events that have a greater impact on small populations compared to large populations. What's interesting is that these 5 evolutionary forces match up almost perfectly, but opposite, to the 5 conditions for Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium.